Good evening, everyone. Ken Mills here with World Views. So tonight we have a special show for you. Knowing that this is the end of the Black History Month, the end of February, we have a great topic. That topic tonight will be empowerment. We have three special illustrious guests that will come on that will discuss different topics along the lines of empowerment, from levels of entertainment to community-based organizations. So what I'd like for you to do, I'd like for you to just hang tight with us. Tune in, don't leave. And when we return, we'll be back with our first illustrious guest. Like I said before, you're tuned in here with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
Wanna be a boss? You're watching Boss Up Houston Network. It's Boss Up Houston, where we look up, stay up, and boss up.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Now, this young lady I have to my left, she came here with us last season in September, but we brought her back today. The illustrious Sherelle, how you doing today?
I'm fine. How you doing, Ken?
All right. Now, Sherelle, when you last left here, you had a burgeoning comedy career going on. What has happened since then?
Well, since then, I've been able to continuously be booked. I had different opportunities. I've gotten different offers to go to different comedy clubs to, continue to get my name out there. I've been able to kind of network a little bit more and put insight of what type of female comedian I am and where I come from and what my journey is as a female comedian.
Okay. So, how has 2021 been treating you?
Pretty good so far.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Because I know you got another event coming up on Saturday.
I do.
Virtual event.
I do. I will be on the Sister Talk podcast. I will be opening up for a couple of female entrepreneurs that are upcoming in the business, and I enjoy it because it'll be my second time coming on there, opening up for them, and I really love what they're doing with their business and things like that because I see different entrepreneurs on their show, and it inspires me, to do better and to, just move forward with what I'm doing, and I know that I have the right people in my corner, and I'm back.
Okay. So I wanted to touch on this. So through your art of comedy, how do you work that in to empower women?
For me, I work it in and empowering women because what I would like to do is just pave the way for, black women, in the community, because a lot of people sell themselves short because a lot of us care about what other people think of us, and we shouldn't. I feel victims of it, and I have daughters watching me, so I just choose to continue on with the path that I'm going so that I can show them, as well as other women who are ahead of me, to continue to do what you're doing. Every day won't be a great day. You just have to take that and stride with it and continue to move forward with what you're trying to do with yourself as far as an entrepreneur or whatever it is that you choose to do in life and what your goals are.
Right, because I can definitely see that. Being that I'm a huge fan of your comedy.
Thank you.
There's one there's one character that you talk about all the time. The infamous Craig.
Craig.
Now,
Craig.
Yeah, Craig.
Everybody have a Craig.
Okay. Now, can you tell the viewers about Craig?
Okay, everybody want to know who Craig is. Craig is the dude that you can always call on, when your man not acting right. It's not always a Craig now. Y'all don't want to get nobody in trouble. But, you want to be able to call that person because some women settle for less. They got a Craig. Because, see, when your man not doing what they're supposed to be doing, Craig gonna come through. It's kind of like a loan shark. You know how you get money from him and stuff, and when you don't pay him back, things happen to you and all that kind of stuff.
Kneecaps.
Yeah, that's what Craig for. He got to put you back together because you crying over the guy that you laying up with, but Craig gonna put it all back together for you and make you feel all right.
All right. So besides Craig, I also hear about you, especially through your comedy. You talk about how women find ways to maintain and make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of go into that. If you want to share some personal experiences, feel free.
For me, watching my mom raise all of us, it was 6 of us, and I watched her get up and go to work every day, rain, sleet, snow. She didn't complain much, and if she did, we didn't hear about it. This generation is a little bit different. We're more open in front of our kids, so they know everything that's going on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now, as a mom, I was able to see why she hid those things from us, because we tend to pick up on those things and do the exact same thing. The first thing your child gonna tell you is, well, you did it. You know what I mean? So, and that's what, when my oldest daughters got older and grown, and I was able to see the choices that they were getting to make, that's what made me change, the way that I was as a mother. You know what I mean? Because when you're young, you think you know it all as a mom. You don't want nobody to tell you nothing. So just for me, I'm inspired by my mom, because that is where I got my work ethic from. Even if I didn't want to work, I would find things that I know how to do to make money, because I knew I didn't want to be broke, because she always made things happen. I wear many hats. I'm a mom. I work a full-time job, I do comedy, and I braid hair. So it's like, find a skill that that you're good at, because God has blessed you with it. And I have a voice, I can sing. I just chose to do comedy because I enjoy making people laugh. I enjoy people coming back saying, I thought about something you said, and I just bust out laughing out of nowhere. I love to have that impact on people, and I would I want to be remembered as that person that just knew how to move the room. You know what I mean?
So that's one thing that I didn't know. So you are a singer.
I can sing, yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about that. We're going to figure out a way for you to intertwine both.
Comedy and singing?
Yeah.
I plan on it. This year I did. I'm going to come out of my shell a lot this year and show others, what other things that I'm able to do, because God definitely blessed me.
Right. Because, just as me being an observer, I've seen you come out of your shell a lot over the last couple of years.
I did.
Because at first, I'm going to be honest with you, because at first you were a little bit shy.
I was.
And you were a little bit guarded and a little bit standoffish. You was like, I don't know if this is for me. Mm-hmm. But as I see, it's like a turtle coming out the shell.
Right.
So I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of what you're doing.
Thank you.
So what are some of your influences, entertainment-wise, life-wise? I know you spoke of your mother, but do you have any other influences?
I do. I've always idoled Adele Givens. I'm always compared to her. The last time I was on the show, I mentioned that as well. For me, I felt like that we could relate in a lot of things. I watched her comedy growing up, and she used to tickle me pink, and I didn't even realize I was going to be, compared to her, and other female comedians as well, and that's what made me, because a lot of comedians that I look up to don't have a filter the same way as I do. And so I would always be afraid, I would be like, no, I shouldn't say this or I shouldn't say that, and I'm very guarded. I take in a lot of advice from different people, because everybody have different experiences, and I took that and I just began to grow with that, because that's what works for me. I have people who are rooting for me that I don't even know. You know what I mean? And when I can have that impact on others and have them like, what happened to that one girl? Like, I want to have a memorable personality, and a lot of comedians I have been inspired by, and that's what makes me continue to go on and do whatever it is that I want to do, because these days a lot of women are really taking over, like they are really leaving their mark, so.
I could agree. So also, I just want to get your take, as well as being a burgeoning or up-and-coming female comedian in a male-dominated industry. What has been some of your obstacles that you run into?
Well, it has its pros and cons. As a female comedian, as an attractive female comedian, and you're going to get a lot of positive and negative feedback, and everybody really doesn't have your best interest at heart. People will book you thinking they're going to take you out on a date after that. You have different people who will take what I'm saying on stage and think that I'm that person today, and I'm not. These are past experiences. These are things that I know that other people that I know have gone through. And so I use that because I know that they can relate. I'm talking about real things when I get on the stage. You know what I mean? Being in a male-dominant industry doesn't intimidate me at all, because I know who I am as a woman. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here for whatever it is that they're offering if they don't have nothing to do with business. You know what I mean? I'm just here to continue on my path as a female comedian the same way that they are. You know, I don't need distractions, you know?
Okay. So what are some of the ways that you avoid that negative attention?
I shy away from it. Before, let me tell you, like when I first started in comedy, I know you noticed that I would get off the stage and I'm out the door.
Right.
You know, but I began to see people who were genuinely there to support, and it wasn't nothing underhanded. And I began to stay to try to support their journey as well. You know what I mean? Because that's what stuck out to me. The other ones that I know just showing because they feel like they want my number or whatever it is that whatever agenda that they have, they will be disappointed because that's not the type of woman that I am. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm strong enough to walk away from this situation and say, here, I'm here to do a job, and I gotta go home to my kid. You know what I mean? And that's what I choose to do. It wasn't easy though. Like, some men are attractive, you know what I mean, but you have to shy away from that because they don't have all of them don't have good intentions. You know what I mean? So that's just, for me, that's what works for me.
Okay.
You just got to get out of there. You got to go. You married, so you know, I know you have to walk away from certain situations and things like that. You know what I mean? So I mean, I know the flesh is weak.
So I'll put it to you like this. So marriage is totally different. Marriage, I took an oath in front of God and also in front of my wife that I was always going to do the right thing.
For sure.
Hey everyone, I'm Brittany.
I'm Ann.
I'm Jalecia.
And we are She Buys.
Come by with us.
So what do you feel that'll be next to push you along in your comedic journey? Like what if you had, let's just say if you had a vision board and it was something that you really wanted to do or achieve for 2021, what would it be?
It would be to network outside of Houston. I would definitely, expand and go out of town and, put my name out there so that, others can see me as a comedian as well. I plan to just continue to grow, as a female comedian. I still have a lot to learn, so I'm taking notes and I'm just, day by day. That's what my plan is.
All right. So if the people wanted to find you and the people wanted to support you on your next event, how could they find you?
Well, you could go to my email. If you want to book me, you can go to Sharelle Smith 161 at yahoo.com. You can also go to Instagram. It's RELL_THO. My name on Facebook is Sharelle Smith. That's my personal Facebook, though. If it's not about business, please do not contact me for anything other than business. And that's how you would get in touch with me.
Okay. We'll just leave you with this. World Views with Ken Mills, we thoroughly support you. World of Comedy, 5 Entertainment support you as well.
Thank you.
And we've been happy to have you on the show.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
No problem. So, guys, what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll have our next 2 illustrious special guests join us here for more talk on empowerment. You're now here with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network.
Stay up. Stay
Welcome back, everybody. Ken Mills here. Now, like I told y'all, I'll have two special illustrious guests join us. Now, these young ladies, they do a lot in the community for the greater Houston area as well as abroad. So, right here, we'd like to welcome here Kendra London, Felicia Latson. How y'all doing this evening?
Good. Thank you.
All right, so I'll start off with Felicia. Felicia, you're a social worker in the Houston area, correct?
Oh, yes.
All right. And Kendra, you also a community organizer, activist, and etc. I say etc. on that. All right. So, if you could you tell the audience about the organizations that you run and also some of your endeavors? I'll start with you, Kendra.
Okay. I founded Our African Family, which is a community-based nonprofit organization. The motto for our African Family is each one teach one. So what our African Family goal is to revitalize the village. So I understand and I know I'm a product of a village. It took a village to raise me. So if we could cultivate that, that's our goal. And then we, underneath Our African Family, there's the Circle Coalition. And the Circle Coalition is to give a platform for the unseen, the unheard, and the underestimated voices of Fifth Ward.
Amen. And to you, Felicia.
So I am a resident of Fifth Ward. I met Kendra doing some volunteer work around health and wellness in our neighborhood, and she came in just as a powerhouse and really helped pull through a tough point in trying to pull those health fairs off. And so after that period passed, we continued to work together under Our African Family and the Circle Coalition and addressing some of the issues that are happening in the neighborhood right now regarding gentrification and displacement.
Okay, so I want to pose this question because I've been hearing a lot about gentrification, and I would say one moniker that's been given to the Fifth Ward area is the East River District, which I don't understand and never heard before. So could you guys enlighten me as to, number one, how was this moniker created? What is the mission statement for those individuals in opposition? To try to realign this area as East River, and also what's being done in order to combat that?
So I'll take those questions kind of out of order.
Yes.
I don't know their mission. So my opinion of that mission is to separate themselves from the historical residents that have always been there. We've seen this done over and over again with indigenous people, First Peoples. It's called Columbusing, to show up to a place where people already exist and rename it and claim it as something else. So East River, everyone knows it historically as the bottoms of Fifth Ward. People were already living there, but if you are looking to sell real estate and you want to sell it at exorbitant prices, you can't call it the bottoms, right? You have to rebrand it as something else. And so on one hand, I understand that if I was a real estate developer and a business person, maybe I would do those same things. But the unintended consequence of that is that you're othering people and you're pushing them out of places where they've always been. And there's nowhere else to go. So Fifth Ward was founded by very hardworking people, by African American people who essentially had nowhere else to go, and they created a village, they created a community. And now that land is being reclaimed and taken over by people who don't have any attachment to the original culture.
None at all. So it's just like she said, in any history book you pick up, they're going to rename it before they take it. So they renamed it the East River Project, and it's really a sad thing. It's difficult to express without being passionate about it, because we were there surviving. So now when it's going to thrive, you want us out and to displace us, and they're legally stealing property, because the real estate investments that they're going to create along that East River Project will take up the tax bracket for all of the historic Fifth Ward. So if we can't afford the taxes now, we have to get out due to financial burdens. This is unfair. This is unreal. So if there's really affordable housing being given within the community benefits agreement, it would be suitable for the historic Fifth Ward, and it's not. It wasn't even mentioned.
So, I hear you speak about a perspective for the homeowner. What about those that may be in lower income housing or government subsidized housing?
Okay, so I'll give you two examples. That East River project is going to go along, like she said, the bottoms. And everybody who's from Fifth Ward understand that the bottom in Kelly Court is their neighbors. So if I-45 is going to go through Fifth Ward, the I-45 expansion, they want to bring the I-45 freeway through Fifth Ward. They have to tear down Clayton Homes and they have to tear down Kelly Village. Kelly Court to us, but Kelly Village. So they have to tear down Kelly Village and Clayton Homes. So what TxDOT is going to do is give out housing vouchers. The housing vouchers will be suitable for rent and utilities, not the lifestyle. So you're going to push the people out. They're going to move to these, they call it a People's Choice voucher. So if it's a People's Choice voucher, you mislead them and think, make them assume that they're actually getting a choice of where they're going to stay. If you wanted to displace if you wanted to just do investment and not displace the people, then the vouchers would meet the rental properties that are in Fifth Ward. They won't. Not even 2 miles not 2 miles behind or 5 miles behind Fifth Ward. So the residents have no choice of staying within their community. You have no choice but to get out. So if you're going to get out, where are you going to go? You'll go to you'll go to Pearland, Spring, you'll go. Kingwood is even taking housing vouchers now. Wow. And I think that's very strategic, because at first they didn't dare want us there. So now the housing vouchers are for, you can go anywhere, so they call it a People's Choice. So you send my people on this journey as if they're getting a better life. Once they get to those outskirts of Houston, they won't survive.
There's no support system.
It's no support system. There's no metro bus. All of these, our seniors in our community are tough seniors. They go to the hospital on their bus line. They go to the Hester House on their bus line. Our seniors take care of themselves. So to put them in a place where they don't know their neighbors, you're now taking away our security blanket, because everybody in the community know what family I belong to. We know what family you belong to. Everybody in the community knows what child goes where. So when you displace us, that's a part of our security blanket that you're taking from us. So now the residents in Clayton Homes are facing eviction, because that's what it is. They're going to push them out by the end of June. These are single moms with no jobs. These are the mothers with jobs. They still struggle. If you can imagine a mother with a 3-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old, trying to put all of them in the car and go to the grocery store, right? Now imagine that same mother trying to move out to a place she has no clue of where she's going. She has no idea how the housing voucher works, because the housing voucher and Section 8 are two different things. So they're going to do, however we allow them to handle Clayton Homes, that's how they're going to treat Kelly Village. So the gentrification, we're being hit so many ways in Fifth Ward, it's ridiculous.
And then just to add on to that, like a significant health impact of this displacement. I mean, the research shows, like, you can go to the American Heart Association's website and they will show you that isolation, especially of seniors, is more detrimental to the health of that population than smoking. So putting a person in a situation where they have no support system, where they're isolated from their families, will actually kill them faster than if they were smoking a pack of cigarettes per day. So when we talk about gentrification and displacement, it's not a thing of we don't want change in our neighborhood. we don't want these other people moving in. No, we're simply trying to protect the people that were already there.
Yeah, protect the legacy.
So, what has been some of the initiatives that have been done to try to, number one, combat this and also alleviate some of that impact that you guys are speaking of?
It's tough, right? There aren't a lot of voices speaking up for this group of people that no one wants to listen to. The group of people that our African Family and Circle Coalition are representing, they are the single moms that are going to work every day. They can't go to the community meetings. They are seniors who may be caring for, their grandchildren or children that they've been left with. So they're not active and engaged because they are surviving, right? And so because they don't have the privilege to be able to take off work, or it's not a part of their jobs to kind of be involved in the community, people say, oh, well, they don't care. Well, they don't show up to any meetings, they don't fill out any surveys, so why should we be accountable to them? So honestly, sadly, there aren't a lot of efforts other than the very grassroots work that we're doing together to try to push back against those very powerful forces who are on the side of those those that already have power.
And on top of them working, they're working and they're trying, they're surviving. Our community has always been in survival mode. So they're surviving, but on top of that, they're also being intimidated. I have a lot of people, members of the Circle Coalition, that they're the grandchildren of the grandmothers that are inside of Kelly Village. The elders won't speak up because they don't want to deal with what may come from the front office. So, if the elders, I have a sister that speaks up for her grandmother, but she won't say the grandmother's name, and she won't say, sometimes she won't even give her name because she doesn't want the backlash of what they'll do to her grandmother. So, it's all types of intimidation that's going on. I had a elder offered a $500 housing voucher. Where would she go with $500? Nowhere.
A hotel room for
just
a couple
because
of nights.
It's just her, you would give her $500? That's ridiculous.
Is that for a month, per month?
Per month.
Oh no.
It's ridiculous. So we're being hit with it's actually a domino effect of burdens that's going on with that housing voucher. It's a front like, we're not displacing you. What we're doing is we're giving you a choice to move to a better place. But I always ask, who tells you that, like, what's okay with me doesn't have to be okay with you. My normal doesn't have to be your normal. Your normal doesn't have to be my normal. I'm fine where I am. Leave me as I am. But somebody says, whoever says, you all should be somewhere else.
So, how I would say that I'm confused, bewildered, and befuddled at that point, because how can you tell me that this is not a great place, but yet you're going to move here, you're going to build infrastructure, and you're going to sit here, you're going to stay here. So basically, that's a ploy on my mentality or my psychology that you're trying to do. Also, I want to touch on another subject. I do hear that there's another grave issue that's going on in that area as well, known as the cancer cluster. So, if I understand this correctly, the railroad system that aligns all the way down Liberty Road and stretches all the way across the northeastern part of Houston has treatment on its tracks that may have went into the soil and may have proliferated cancer over time. Is that the truth? Did I understand that properly?
So the organization that is hands-on and doing the groundwork for that is Impact. The queen is Sandra Edwards. So I salute her with everything that I have, because she has been there from day one and she's amazing at what she does. Is to get the accountability of Union Pacific to be held accountable for what they have done to the Fifth Ward residents all the way through Cashmere Gardens. So it's not just Cashmere. That Union Pacific, that railroad track goes down Liberty Road through to Kashmir. Where were all of the employees from? Fifth Ward. So do you not think those chemicals were on the clothes of the employees? So Union Pacific only wanted to do what, 100 families?
Right along the railroad track.
Yeah, right. But it's Union, so Union Pacific should be held accountable for the damage that they have done. There's I was reading an article that Miss Sandra was in like 3 weeks ago, and she stated that there's a new find from 2000 to 2016. Now there's leukemia cluster, cancer cluster for children. So all damage created, they should be held accountable for every doctor bill. They should be held accountable for every loss. They should be held accountable for everything that they have done. So what our African Family and the Circle Coalition does, we educate the community on what they don't know. For 30 years, we have been left out of vital conversations. So since we have been left out of these vital conversations, we are always reactive instead of proactive. So now if we get people to be leaders like Felicia, it's so many people that are doing so many things, but we're spread so far few, it's spread so thin that we need more help. We need more volunteers. So the more volunteers we have, the better of a bigger result we'll get. Like the residents in Kelly Court and Clayton Homes, they respond. But also, she works every day. I work every day. We have families also. But if you're just watching and paying attention, Hurricane Harvey, we haven't recovered from that. After Hurricane Harvey hit, you also hit with the cancer cluster, gentrification with the East River Project, gentrification with the with the I-45 expansion, and now this ice storm. When do we get to breathe?
COVID.
And then COVID. How can you, and COVID.
The thing. So,
when do we get to breathe? And then another thing, everyone always says, you could do it, we strong. Yes, we're strong. We can deal with the resources we have, but we have so few. How strong do you want us to be? How quiet do you want us to remain? I'm not.
So also there's another, I would say another facet to this entire story of issues that you've put on the table here. It's the perception of crime and violence in that area. So just wondering, are there any initiatives catered to try to heal the community in that fashion?
So I struggle with that perception, right? I didn't grow up in Fifth Ward, but I live there now, and I've lived there for several years. And what I see is people existing. And by my knowledge, I have not found any statistics that say that at this current time, Fifth Ward is any more dangerous than any other areas of the city of Houston. So, when people move into the neighborhood who are not familiar with the culture, what they may perceive as crime is really just people existing, because you saw a group of men standing on a corner or at a convenience store, or you saw a group of boys loud talking at the basketball court. You perceive that to be an argument, and then because you perceive regular daily life as crime, now there's more police activity. What I have noticed over the years that I've been living in the neighborhood is that for ordinary things, so on my street, we tend to have these random trail rides. They just pop up on a random Saturday, random Sunday. You just walk out your door and there's a trail ride on your street. Usually no one complains. It's a trail ride, it's something to look at. But more and more, you're seeing the police show up because of these trail rides. And it's like, well, who's calling the police now? It's people riding horses down the street. Where's the crime? Where is the crime? And so we understand, and I'm not saying, that the police are wrong. If someone called, they're supposed to show up. They're doing their job. And I'm not saying that they're always doing the wrong thing when they do show up. I don't want to paint that picture, but we know the chance that you take anytime that you bring the police into a black neighborhood and bring the police to deal with black men and black women who are having fun and trying to express joy, right? It's always a 50-50 risk. And so it's you know, if new residents are going to move into the neighborhood, the only thing we're asking is accept the culture for what it is. Become a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
So my thing here too, you talk about the residents not being aware of the culture, but for many years the police department had no idea of the culture and it was foreign to them. That's why you saw some of the reactions that you may have seen. So I think it's a twofold issue at this point, where you have people, or how they would say, boots on the ground, that have no idea of what's going on. Then also you have administration who don't. So that's a twofold issue. And when you talk about these other things, these other realms of displacement or moves of displacement that's going on, it's basically like if Thanos was to arrive. Thanos from the Avengers. Do you remember? Do you know him? He had all the rings, and what he did, he had all the destruction. He cleared it out. That's what it looks like to me.
It's a wrecking ball.
Well, you know, like she said, when the police show up, they're there to do their job. But the problem is like she said, sometimes there's people that abuse their call. There's no need to call the police officers. Find out what's going. Sit on your porch, enjoy it, or go back in the house, because they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything violent. They're not breaking any laws. They're simply disturbing your peace for 30 minutes. If 30 minutes, it won't even be 30 minutes, because I watch the trail rides and I love them. So it won't even be 30 minutes. They're simply going through their neighborhood where they grew up and entertaining their neighbors. Now you're a new neighbor, and this is not your norm. So when do you walk into somebody's house and start moving the furniture around and tell them this chair should sit here? You don't do that. You come in, you find your way, and you figure it out. Like, give us a chance to embrace you. Let us embrace you, and then maybe you'll embrace us back. Maybe not. But we can also sit together, and we don't have to like each other, but we'll respect each other. Okay, once we find out Miss Pam doesn't like the trail rides, okay, cool. We'll detour around her house out of respect. Fifth Ward is a community where the respect is earned. You give it, and then you'll receive it. But to come in and just grab and take, that's not the village I grew up in. So the village I grew up in taught me to fight back. So that's why I'm doing what I do today. This is a different fight. This is not a physical fight. This fight is one for, it's like humanity. Like, be humane. Teach for it's each one teach one. So you're new to the neighborhood. There's a rumor, I have no clue, of a group that won't even talk to you if you haven't purchased your house within the last 5 years. So maybe this is where all the phone calls from the police are coming. But what people need to know and understand is Fifth Ward is its own little city, and it always has been. So whoever does what, someone knows, someone's going to speak on it. I just say everyone should come to the table and find a middle ground. It should be a middle ground somewhere.
So I have a question for you as well, in regard to the youth. So I know the youth that are still there, they may not have enough resources or many resources in order for them to do normal things. And I shout out to Wheatley. I believe there's a Little League football team, baseball team, everything in Finnegan Park that's thriving. So on top of that, what we'll do, we'll go to a quick commercial break, but when we return, we'll talk a little bit more about this subject. But guys, stay tuned. You're now here with World Views with Ken Mills on Boss Up Houston Network. welcome everyone. So we're going back into this discussion here with Felicia Latson and Kendra London. So I hear all of these different things that are going on in the community, and I was a Fifth Ward resident for most of my early life. I grew up there. I've been around there. And I hear all these things, and I'm trying to understand. We have politicians that are zoned there. We have government. But what do you guys feel, what system has failed the community?
Ooh, that's loaded, Ken. Okay, so I'll speak from my work experience. I'm a social worker, and I work in healthcare. And at one point, it was my job to liaison with schools and the education system. And in that position, my experience was that children were being failed from kindergarten, pre-K. If they just showed up not school ready, they may show up with behavior problems because they're frustrated that, they're having to learn this transition. And for there to be some reaching back to get those that are not quite there yet, those that may have had some adverse childhood experiences throughout life that have just prevented them from being able to take advantage of all of the things like scholarships and higher education and job training programs. We cannot just ignore that segment of our community simply because they don't look good and they're not desirable, or they're not deemed as desirable, and they're not deemed as having power. We have a duty to help everyone, regardless of their status in life.
So I have a question because you asked me that question.
Okay.
Do you own property in Fifth Ward?
I don't.
Did you?
I did once.
Okay. Was it within the last 10 years?
Within the
15?
yes,
or 3?
within the last 10.
10?
Yes.
Okay, so within the last 10 years, you own property in Fifth Ward. Did you know we had a TERS 18 board?
No.
Do you know what a TERS 18 is?
No.
That's the system that failed us. So TERS 18 board, they're over like the tax revenue for the community. So they get to say what they will invest in and what they want, what they will not. But it's your taxes that you're paying on your homes. So when I say we have been left out of vital conversations like that, my grandmother has owned that house since 1997. She had no clue that there was a TERS 18 board. This is not. How is it normal to be in a community and be a homeowner and not know who's over your taxes? How is this? So to me, the lack of knowledge, the lack of information to the residents fails the community. So if you keep certain things away from us, it allows power to come in and for it to be a rodeo. So now my community feels like it's a rodeo going on. Who's helping us to at least balance this? There needs to be balance. There's no balance at this time. There's a group of residents who feel like they have not been heard for years. They're unseen and underestimated, like I said. Then you have a new group of residents who can make things happen within 3 seconds, within 3 months. How?
But it's that thing of power begets power.
Yes.
And some of the institutions that are in place that should be helping power to be distributed amongst all, they're only helping the process of power begetting power.
Yeah, so that's where we fail. And I mean, that's, to me, the lack of information makes us reactive instead of proactive, and that's a very dangerous thing. When you lack knowledge, you lose. So that's how we have been in last place.
Okay. Now, ladies, I've really enjoyed this discussion. I mean, it's been very informative, and I, for one, just learned something. Mm-hmm. So if the viewers want to find you all, how can they get in touch with you? And I'll start with you, Felicia.
Yeah, so actually it's Felicia. So, but everyone can find me on LinkedIn, Felicia Latson, LCSW. You'll find me there.
Okay.
Our website is Our African Family, African with a K.org. And on Instagram, it's Our African Fam 5. So we're on Instagram and we have a website. And so you can find the Circle Coalition on the Our African Family website.
Okay. Well, once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming in and having this discussion with us. Definitely Worldviews with Ken Mills is out to support each of your endeavors with your organization, Our African Fam, and also for you. So if you guys have any events that are going on or need our platform to get any message out, please do so.
Thank you for the invite.
We'll
I appreciate
definitely use that when we can go outside again.
Yes.
No problem. And I mean, even virtually, our platform here is for the betterment of the community, and we try to empower the community every time that we get on air.
Definitely. Great.
All right. So what we'll do now, we'll go to a quick parting shot. So today we've had Sharelle, the comedian. She has come on. We had her here last year, and you can see the growth. You can see her coming into her own. You can see her coming in as a butterfly. She's growing. She's flowing. We've seen this journey from the beginning, and hopefully we were able to capture it here on the platform. She informed you that, hey, she is who she is, but she's a strong woman, a black woman, a mother, a hard worker, and she's grinding to get to where she needs to be. And she has morals and ethics. So Johnny, Charlie, Mr. Harry, all y'all best to come correct. All right. So we had here today Felicia. Excuse my Fifth Wardisms, because if you say Felicia, I'm sorry. I'm
Child
sorry.
of the 80s, I get it.
I'm sorry. You know we fly. I understand. So we had Felicia Latson. We had Kendra London. They both came on here and they spoke about their efforts within the community, Fifth Ward community, and the greater Houston community at large. One thing I'd like to tell you about what they brought here, they gave you the ugly truth. When you ride through Fifth Ward now, you see a whole change. You see 3-story lofts. You see people running with the shirt off. I've never seen one of my Caucasian friends ever at Finnegan Park running with his shirt off with a dog chasing him. Normally be dog chasing him, but dog on the side running with him chasing him.
With a sweater.
Okay.
Yeah, with a sweater, fluffy. I've never seen that. So there's definitely a change that is coming about. So as we dug into that change, we found out a few things. We found about the displacement. So the displacement has happened in my own family. So, I have family members that have moved to Humble, that have left the neighborhood. And when we ride through now, it's like a ghost town. All we have are those memories. But the village still remains, maybe virtually, through Facebook, but we get together every once in a while. Also, when you talk about the cancer cluster, my father, may rest in peace, he had land on Liberty Road in consortium with his family, right there off Amboy. And all the time when I was a child and I used to be over there, the train would ride down the tracks. It would be loud, it would be noisy. We thought we had good living because there was trees everywhere and a nice breeze would come on the porch. Little did we know we were getting poisoned. So that's another truth that came out. Then secondly, another one that came out is the perception of crime and violence. So I know for a fact, I'm a different generation. I know there's generations under me. And we have many different neighborhoods in Fifth Ward, and I'll call them out right now. You got Bucktown, you got Coke Street, you got Liberty Road, you got Brewster Park, you got West Street, you got 2Cs, you got all these different microcosms of the neighborhood in different areas, but we all make up one that they used to call a bloody nickel. So if there's anything that goes on with the youth, if anybody get into any little trouble, if they see anything go wrong, they lump them in together and say Fifth Ward Circle like it is a continuing crime enterprise. And that's a poisonous perception. And what that does is that makes the gentrification easier because they feel as though they can clean up the neighborhood and they've done something reputable. But that's not the case. What you've done, you've knocked out a whole generation of strong people that could have built up that community.
Right.
So one question that I failed to ask them was how we could unify the community. And this is one of the things, this is one of my mission statements within Worldviews with Kent Mills. When I come on every week and I have these different individuals, these illustrious guests come on and they're leaders in their community in different facets, I'm trying to unify everybody, because guess what? When you learn more about what they do, you're going to go out and support them. And if they have a reputable organization, also a powerful progressive movement, you can join that and help it move along. Because I know we're all looking for ways to better the community. So I'll leave y'all with this. Open your minds, open your hearts, and stay safe out there.